What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a super late review, you guys. So, if you guys didn't see my community tab, I did put on the community tab that we are going to review Grotesquerie, which airs on FX, you guys. So, the series stars Niecy Nash Betts. It also has Travis Kelce in it. It has a guy that I know from watching General Hospital. His character's name was Spencer Hastings. I mean, not Spencer Hastings. That's Pretty Little Liars. Spencer Cassadine. But yeah, you guys, I watched the episode 1 last night and I watched episode 2 today. So what we're going to do over between now and Saturday is I intend to have everything up all at once, all together, right? So this is episode 1, and this was the pilot episode, you guys. So the pilot episode, so we see this late. We see Niecy Nash's character wake up. So her character's name is Lois, right? So her phone was ringing off the hook. So we see as she went to a crime scene, right? And when she gets there, this guy named Jack is telling her, like, Lois, you might want to go ahead and pass this off to the FBI. And she was like, why would I pass it off to the FBI? He's like, because it looks like a hate crime. And if it's in a hate crime, then I don't know what this is, right? So we see as one man came outside, he was throwing up. And I was like, wow, is the crime scene that bad? And baby, was it ever the most disgusting thing you ever want to see in your life, right? So Lois went in, you see it's a family, right? So you see as the kids are in the chair and the mom is in the chair, but they're strapped to the chair, right? It looked like with like barbed wire and everything, and it was just so disgusting. Then you see the father, his head is decapitated, and then on the table, you see somebody prepared a meal for them, and then you see human remains hanging from the family's mouth, right? Then you go over into the stove and there is a boiling pot of something, right? Then there's a timer that's going off. It's a timer that's ticking, right? So the timer is ticking and then that's it. Now we see Lois. So Lois got a little bit of a drinking and an alcohol problem. I was like, damn girl, a double whammy, huh? So we see her at home cooking for her daughter Merritt and cooking taquitos and all this kind of stuff. I was like, who is all this food for? And we see it's all for Merritt. I was like, oh, so Merritt is a glutton, right? And Merritt is a fully able-bodied young woman. She's sitting there watching a game show, and she's very smart. She's solving the puzzles. I was like, okay, cool, because she wants to go on a reality show, right? So we see that Lois has this rash that she hasn't taken care of. I was like, Lois, that rash, that's a problem. That's gonna be a problem, baby girl. Go get it checked out, right? And that's what Merritt is telling her. So then we see as Lois went to go visit her husband, who is on life support, right? And the vibe that I got from the nurse was a very weird and creepy vibe. I was like, sis, what's up with you? 1 minute it felt like the nurse was trying to tell her to take him off of life support, but then the next minute it's like, nah, she's telling her to keep him on life support. So he's been in this coma for 28 days, right? And when you go and look at him, man is on one of them tubes where is those iron hearts or iron lungs, whatever it's called, right? And it's breathing for him. I was like, that's no way to live your life. And even Lois had to say, like, the husband that she know, his spirit is not there, right? And I would have to agree with you, ma'am, because I mean, 28 days and he ain't, which, pardon me, I was listening to it because it sounded like he's in a medically induced coma, but even still, with the medically induced coma, they can take you out of it. But I know that sometimes people do wake up out of them, but I was like, okay, this is very weird and very odd, right? So after that, we find out the nurse got cameras in his room because she's telling Lois, like, whenever you go in there, you can speak to him, speak to him lovingly, right? And she was like, wait a minute, bitch, do you have cameras in the room? She was like, I sure do. So I guess an orderly had knocked up a girl who was comatose. I was like, ew. But those things really do happen where people be in comas and people still manage to, that is so disgusting to me. Like, that is really disgusting that you are that, oh God, just depraved. So after that, we see Lois. So Lois is telling her team about the crime scene, right? So at this point, they do have some stuff from the crime scene, but all the blood and everything, it still links to the family, right? So they need to find something that links them to the killer. So that's what she wants her team to do, right? And after that, uh, yeah, she's just basically telling them like to find something that they, just go through, comb again, try to find whatever. So then we see as a nun comes comes to see her, right? And this nun is a reporter. Her name is Sister Megan, right? So Sister Megan is really mostly just trying to get traffic to, her online, you know, newspaper, whatever it is that she does, right? Because she's talking about gory stuff, and I'm like, wow, a nun that is into gory stuff. Then it gets even worse because this nun is a cussing nun. I was like, oh, so she cusses too. It gets even worse in episode two. It got worse in episode two. So the nun is looking up this kind of stuff because she's interested in rituals and in cults, right? And I was like, that's fascinating that a nun is interested in rituals and cults, because wouldn't that be considered satanic or demonic and you serve the Lord? But okay, you know, everybody, I mean, you weren't born a nun. So Lois is telling her about the family, right? Being tied up. The father was cooked and served to the family. And then she was telling her about what was in the pot that was boiling. So Sister Megan is asking her, like, well, what was in the pot? And Lois is like, now here's the thing. You guys tell me if you guys were on this same wavelength as I was on. Because when Lois was telling her what was in the pot, she wouldn't say. We know it wasn't his head, and they fed the family his other bodily organs like his liver, his lungs, everything of that nature. They fed the family that stuff. The only thing Lois never mentioned was the man's penis. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I know damn well that that man's penis was not in that pot. But I really do believe that that man's penis was in that pot, you guys. Let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you guys think about that. So the more that Sister Megan is talking, right, my wheel started spinning too, like Lois's wheel started spinning. So Lois went for her drawer, and in her drawer was her gun, right? So she was about to grab the gun. I was like, so Lois, you just gonna blast this nun away in the whole precinct? But Lois eventually was like, you know what? She closed up the drawer and she's continued to talk to Sister Megan, right? Because also at one point she was telling her about the music that was playing while the family was there. And she was like, Mozart? And she was like, girl, how in the hell do you know that? She was like, it was just a guess, right? So then she decides that, she can use Sister Megan to her advantage, right? So then we see these drug addicts, right? And they are in this drug den, basically. And somebody rings the doorbell. And mind you, they stoned out of their mind. I don't know what they own, but they own something, right? So one of the druggies went to the door, and whoever it is ringing his doorbell, they were just very persistent. And I was like, I don't know if you should answer that door. I don't think you should answer that door, but they answered the door nonetheless, right? I did leave out a scene. So Lois, girl, I get that you drive slow when you drink, but ma'am, you're still impaired. And then it was raining outside, right? So there was a homeless man out there, and basically telling her he gonna find her, he gonna get her. I was like, girl, if you don't run this man over and let it be flat pancake him. So the next thing we see is the feds are at the druggie's place, right? So Jack is once again telling Lois, like, Lois, please give this case to the feds, right? So they go into this drug den, and you see the drug addicts hung to the wall. It's three of them on the wall, and it's just torso torso and hanging remains, like intestines and stuff. I was like, oh wow, this is very morbid. And then on top of that, their blood has been drained. I was like, ew. I was like, so how do you drain people's blood? And this house is, I mean, granted, it's a crack house, it's a drug house, right? But my question was, how do you do that and still have this place be intact? Because I was so confused by that whole situation. Like, I was really confused. So Sister Megan came in. She was like, "Girl, what the are you doing here?" So she took Sister Megan outside, right? But then she eventually told her to go in and look around, right? So they're going to work together. And we also found out that there was a substance that was left in the previous, I don't know what you want to call that. Well, it's a murder, but it was some substance left in the first one, right? So the same substance was left in this one, right? And I think we'll get to that substance in episode number 2, but it was so interesting. So then after that, we see as Lois went to go see her husband. So her husband's name is Marshall, right? So Lois went to go see Marshall, and she's talking about their daughter and her eating. So like I said, I believe Merritt is a glutton, right? It's so interesting when you think about it, because gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins. But she's a glutton, right? And then Merritt's a glutton, but then also you have Lois, who is a damn alcoholic. So it's like, Lois, you can't talk about Merritt until you fix your own issue, because mama, you got a drinking problem, like a huge, colossal drinking problem. Girl, because you are drinking and driving. No, ma'am. And you are a detective at that. A detective that is drinking and driving. So then she's telling him, while she's talking about the fact that she said something to Merritt about her eating, Merritt also said something to her like, what you talking to me about my eating? But girl, you have a problem with your drinking and with this smoking. And I was like, exactly. Pot, meat, kettle. Like, you can't talk about her. Like, you can't talk about her at all. Like, at all. So, pot, again, like I said, meat, kettle. So she's also telling him about how the daughter wants to be on this particular reality show. And then she just told him that she needs him to come back to her, right? And mind you, she's laying in the bed, so she kind of took that nurse's advice just a teensy bit, right? So then we see as Lois went home, right? So Lois got in the house, and now I know people are, I know I got people who don't watch scary stuff, right? This is not really scary. It's more so gruesome than it is scary. But I was like, when Lois got home, I didn't catch on to what she caught on to, right? But when Lois got home, she heard a noise, right? And I was like, I didn't hear anything. So Lois went for her gun, right? And so Lois is walking around the house, but then I think in her I think she has a study, right? So she actually went a different direction, but then the camera made a focus to point on her study or another room, and you see a figure in there. I was like, oh my God, like Lois, girl, get the fuck out of that house, right? So Lois is still walking around the house, right? And so she eventually, it's like, whoosh, that something just went by. So she walked towards the back door, and Lois went out the back door. So when she went out the back door, she saw somebody going through the bushes. I was like, Lois, girl, you got a gun. Pow, 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 pow. And that's exactly what she did, right? She did pow, pow, pow. And so, Merritt came out and asked her, like, Mom, what the hell? Like, you're shooting. So go back in the house, Merritt. I was like, exactly, Merritt, take your ass back in the house. So then we get back over to Megan. And like I said, Megan is a very interesting nun, because Megan is a cussing nun. So they're at the precinct, right? So Megan came down there to see Lois, right? So Lois told her that, she doesn't want this case. And Megan is trying to talk her into keeping the case. I was like, girl, I wouldn't want this case either. Because, I go home and there's something or someone is in my house. Girl, now keep this. Keep this away from me, Jesus Christ. Hell to the no, right? So Lois then told Megan about the substance that was found at both the first crime scene and the second crime scene, right? So Lois's whole thing, not Lois's whole thing, Lois is telling her about the crime scene, right? And the substance. And so she's describing the substance, and that's when Sister Megan said it's brimstone. I was like, from the Bible? And she was like, yes. I was like, I was thinking to myself, like, back the hell away from me, sister. But see, here's the thing. I've kind of ruled Megan out that it's not her. And I'm gonna tell you guys why, right? Because this is a serial killer, obviously. And history has shown that more times than not, serial killers are white males. And that's one reason why I said I don't think it's Megan, right? I think it's a man. I do believe it's a man, and I'll talk to you guys about. Well, he's on my suspect list in episode 2, but we'll talk about it as we get to episode 2. But I thought episode 1, Megan was a little bit on my list, but then as the episode went by, I was like, nah, she's not on my list. Like, I don't think it's Megan. The more I literally sat with it and thought about it, I'm like, it's not Megan. It's not Sister Megan, right? Because again, one, like I said, history has shown us that serial killers are typically white males, right? And then to be able to lift, especially with the men, the drug addicts, I don't care how drugged out they are, they're still male and they still weigh a lot, right? So to act, or unless, here's the thing, right? And we'll talk about it in episode 2. It could still be Sister Megan because Sister Megan could have help. And we'll talk again, like I said, we'll definitely discuss that once we get to episode number 2 of Grotesquerie, right? But that's it for episode 1, you guys. If I left anything out that you guys want to discuss, feel free to leave it down in the comments section below, you guys. Please subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, you guys. Wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So episode 2 will be up shortly. I don't know how soon episode 2 is going to be up, because I still got to do Abbott Elementary, and I also have an interview at I have an internal job interview with my company coming up at 3:30, so I got to get ready for that. But as I stated, you guys, when it comes to Grotesquerie, episodes 1 and 2 will definitely be up to date. So I'm hoping to have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm hoping to have them all up at least by Saturday, but I'm hoping to have everything up on Friday for you guys to watch throughout the weekend. So I got to watch Grotesquerie, and then I still got to watch Reasonable Doubt, the season finale. So we gonna play between those two. Also, Orange County comes on tonight, so we're gonna get it done, you guys. Don't worry, I'll get them all up for you guys at least by Saturday. But episode 1 and 2 will be up sometime today, and episode 3 and 4 should be up by Friday. 3 and 4 should be up by Friday, and then 5, 6, and 7, again, everything should be up by Saturday, no later than Saturday. I can guarantee you guys that. But be sure, once again, to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. Yeah, because episode number 5, according to On Demand, the next episodes are like 40 and 30 minutes, so they'll be up pretty soon. Bye, guys.